Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Facts 173. Now, I have missed the group talk. They did it without me, the bastards. So I'm going to do one by myself, because I think it's a cool thing. So, this Friday Facts 173 nuclear stuff is almost done by Kovarex. Kovarex is the lead programmer, he's the boss. Now, what we've got is nuclear power. So, basically, he's talking about nuclear power. So, long story short here is that they're nearly done. What you have to do is you have to mine uranium, and then you have to refine uranium, and then throw it through a reactor. So there's a couple of steps, which is really cool. So uranium mining works just like any other mining, which is pretty cool. But then it gets processed in a centrifuge. There's going to be a new entity to refine this ore, uranium ore. And then it gets refined into two types of uranium. Uranium-238 and uranium-235. Now, 235 is the good stuff, and 238 is the not so good stuff. To actually create a fuel rod, you need 5% 235 of the mix. Okay, so I would assume that it's going to be like you'd need, say, 100 bits of uranium-238. Or say 100 bits in total, 95 bits of 238 and 5 bits of 235 to actually make one fuel rod. Now, the downside is that actually when you enrich it, you only get 7 pieces out of every 1,000. So you need to enrich it. So there's a Kovarex enrichment process, which is just a gameplay mechanic thing where you're going to be able to feed it through the enrichment process again to get more 235. So there's just like this circular thing, and that's what's happening over here. So this is the initial refinement to 235. Okay, so it's coming out, and yeah, that's kind of nice. And then what it'll do is it'll get fed in through here and then recirculate around. That's the lowdown on this picture. So really interesting, because nowhere else in Factoria is that kind of mechanic where you need to iterate over a product to make it better, or even create it. So once we've got the nuclear fuel, it can go into a nuclear reactor. One reactor with 4 boilers, right? So now this is something important. These steam engines are a placeholder for a future turbine, which is interesting. But basically what happens is you put nuclear fuel in, the reactor creates heat, you pipe that heat to a boiler, it boils water, and then you put it through a steam turbine just like normal. That's basically what this is. Something interesting though, that they're going to allow 100% energy production bonus. So for every reactor that's connected, you need more boilers to deal with the heat. Now it's 4 boilers per reactor. So if you've got 2 reactors, it's 2 times 4, which is 8 boilers per reactor. If you want 4, it becomes 16. So you can actually, is it 16 or is it 12? 1, 4, 6, 8. Anyway. Smart people on Reddit have figured it out. I was looking over this, talking about the usual things. So it looks very promising, like forging it into an aerodynamic shape and launching it out of the barrel of a gun. Use smash busters. So, that's obviously one thing. Mining productivity, we're coming to that. Yeah, so they were already working out potential reactor designs, which I think is pretty exciting. Now, another thing is mining productivity research. So this is endless research that's just going to increase your output by 2% for each level, and it just gets bigger and bigger. So in late game factories, your mines will be more efficient, which is representative of better technology. You can pull more resources out of the same vein. Because your mining abilities are more advanced, basically. and it's going to greatly diminish the need to erase and build mines too often in bigger late game factories, which I think is pretty cool. Like, we're just going to have this resource sink where we can just keep researching and making our mines more and more efficient as we go along. Actually, moving back to reactors, there's no danger of reactor meltdown at the moment. But we'll see what happens. They're looking for a senior OS X game developer, which is interesting. Their team is growing quite quickly. And BW API, Kovarex apparently created this, so he's going to start a hobby and be programming bots and stuff, which I think is cool. So that's Friday Facts 173 and nuclear power. The one thing I've got is I wonder how much power one of these is going to create. I'm hoping that it's going to be, in the order of one of these will create several hundred megawatts of power, somewhere around 600 to 900 megawatts of power per reactor. Because in the late game, you end up needing, gigawatts and gigawatts of power. So, actually, this kind of setup I would expect to create somewhere around, 2 gigawatts of power. Like a big, massive, strong nuclear reactor. 2 to 5 gigawatts of power. That way, 2 or 3, you'll have somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 to 15 gigawatts of power. So I hope that they make them suitably strong, because otherwise it's just a head fuck to create these things, and there'll be no benefit to building them. But I'm thinking that they'll balance it right, and it'll be good. What else was there? I think that's really it. Obviously the uranium-238, the not so great stuff. Turning that into other products like shells, armor, it opens up some more late game stuff, which is interesting. Very, very interesting. So, very exciting, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed this little talk. I look forward to seeing you next week.